So yeah, I know we're all missing face-to-face contact, and I do too. I miss hugs. I miss going to gigs and theatre. I miss events. I'm an event producer. I haven't got many events to produce at the moment. But um, but if there's something that I think we're learning maybe from these circumstances, it's that we can look outside our own perspective, and we can we can be more empathic and open to understanding other countries, other ways of life. It's paying attention to what's happening, who is protesting, what politics are affecting people, where there are injustices taking place, that you don't have to be that familiar with someone or even know anyone like them in order to care. So I don't know, maybe this is going to help the next generation to be more empathic and have a better understanding and be kinder, even if they don't feel like they have that much of a personal sort of similarity. You don't have to be like someone to want them to be okay. So maybe that's a good thing. Hopefully, that would be if one positive thing comes of all of this, then that would be nice.
So one day this is all going to be over. I hope so. I know so. And I do know that I'm going to be going back to the things that make me happy, like climbing and taking multi-hour brunches and seeing my friends a lot and exploring places I've never been. And I'm very confident that all of that stuff is going to come back. But what I don't know, honestly, is how I've been changed by this whole experience. Because I think with an event that is this massive, with such abrupt lifestyle changes that goes on for so long, we're all changed by this somehow. And I just don't know how I have shifted on the inside. And there's going to be surprises with that, I think. And for me, I just need to be okay with that.
I feel very selfish saying that my biggest complaint right now is that I'm stir crazy because what I really want to do is just get back to work. Like, yeah, there's auditions coming through. Yeah, I get to pour over a script and then film it. And, I'm still working in that way, but it really doesn't compare to being on set. It doesn't compare to actually completing a job. And again, I feel really guilty because my life is fine otherwise. It's the mental thing of not working. It's like this weird long stretch of fatigue that doesn't really seem to go away because I don't have a schedule. I don't have anything to do. And so it's a weird mix of like I feel really guilty, but I really just want to get back to work. That's what I really want to do.
As this country deals with this pandemic, one thing that comes to my mind is how selfish people have been. The refusal to wear a mask is very disturbing. It makes you wonder, why would they not want to do that? Why would they want to keep putting themselves at risk as well as others? The sooner that they follow guidelines, the sooner this thing has a chance of ending. Furthermore, they might not realize that this is the new normal. Wearing a mask, showing extra precaution, sanitizing our hands, and doing what we have to do. We might just have to get ready to accept that this is the way it's going to be for a long time, if not permanently. And is that such a bad thing to be safer? I don't think so. Also, another thing to keep in mind is, how do we know we won't be at risk any more or less once the country reopens? Once they give us the green light, are we still going to be at risk the same or less? I don't know if there's enough confirmation to go by just say that we'll be safe. Now, those are the things that come to my mind.
At this point, even I am untrusting of police. I would be afraid if I got pulled over. A lot of videos are coming to light on social media of police pulling over women just to talk to them in, a creepy kind of terrifying way. They're pulling over anyone just to kind of like harass them and be that person in power. And they're pulling over people of color because they think they're going to get something on them. And, you know, I'm not one of those people that believe all cops are bad. I know a lot of cops who are genuinely amazing people who got their job because they wanted to actually protect civilians and, you know, that kind of thing that a cop should have the drive to do. But as of late, obviously coming to light are all of these horrific stories. And, you know, no matter how great your system is, no matter how great cops you have, if you have a great system and one bug or virus, it's going to tear apart the entire system. It's going to ruin the entire system. You have to fix that virus. And this needs to be fixed. Police need to be trained way better, way longer. They need to be watched. They need to know how to de-escalate. They need to know how to handle people with mental health issues. They need to be in it for the right reason, not just a power trip, but to help people in need. So at this point, I do think that we're in for a change, hopefully.
Something that I miss at this time of just like super crazy quarantine stuff is dating. Not that I was really doing any of that before this started, but I think I was at a good place where I was ready to. It's just that now it's not really an option to go to a bar and kind of meet someone or swipe right on an app and then have dinner or something that night. I just feel like, you know, I was kind of ready for it. And then all of this quarantine stuff happened. And now we just kind of have to wait and see what is going to happen with everything else. So, you know, maybe it's meant to be like this. Maybe I need a little more time, but it's definitely something that I miss is that that option or the power to be able to do that if I wanted. But I don't know. It's just what it is. So just kind of got to deal with it.
Being pregnant during a worldwide epidemic is really stressful and really scary. Not just because pregnant women are acceptable of catching COVID due to our immune systems, but personally, I've been going to all of my doctor's appointments, all of my ultrasounds by myself. And that's not because I don't want my significant other to be with me in the room. Of course, I want him to be there with me. But doctors' offices have implemented a regulation where only the patient is allowed in the waiting room as well as the office. So every time I've been going in to see the progression of our son or to hear new news or to get test results back, I've been doing this alone, and he hasn't been there with me. He's missing out on so many memorable moments and memories, and it hurts me personally knowing that he can't be there. But what the scariest thought of all of this right now for me is that in a few months, when I do give birth to our son, there's a huge possibility that he won't be able to be allowed in the delivery room with me while I'm giving birth. A lot of women apparently have been giving birth this year by themselves in hospitals because of COVID and because of the regulations that the hospitals have placed. I never imagined being pregnant during a worldwide epidemic, and it's a really scary thought. But we just keep going one foot in front of the other, seeing day by day what is going on in the world. And we're just trying to keep a positive, hopeful outlook that the day that our son decides to arrive, that he will be there with me. My significant other will be by my side, holding my hand while I'm giving birth. It's a really scary time we're in right now, but we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it.
As the artistic director of a theater company that's based out of the North Hollywood Theater Arts District, I can tell you that COVID-19 significantly impacted our 2020 season. Not only did we have to suspend the run of two of our currently running shows, but we had to suspend and postpone the rest of our 2020 season. This impacted us financially, but more importantly, it affected our ability to continue to do what we love best, and that is entertain our audiences. However, our membership is an incredible, supportive, and loving group of people, and we meet on a weekly basis to create and write new original works that we read on virtual platforms. And we also do virtual socially distancing drive-bys to check up on one another and make sure that our families are okay. We're a strong group, we're supportive, and through this together, I know we're going to come out of this stronger and better than ever so we can continue to do what we love, and that is entertain our audiences and people and put smiles on people's faces. Together, we're strong, and I know we'll come back and be stronger than ever.
So we've been trying to get married for a while, and then the pandemic hit. And we didn't know how long that was going to last. So when California authorized online weddings, we decided that it was a better time than any to go for it. So we did a simultaneous video call with the county clerk and a Zoom for friends and family around the world.
We weren't sure how it was going to go since we were worried a Zoom meeting would be a little cold for a wedding. But in fact, people told us that it was surprisingly intimate because they could see us up close, they could see all the emotions, and in turn we could see them and their tissue boxes, and it turned into a very wonderful, unique experience.
Yeah, definitely. And some of the most touching feedback we've gotten is that people said it was nice to have something positive to look forward to and be a part of. And we really didn't expect that, in the midst of everything that's going on. It was really touching.
Yeah. So we're glad we did it, and now we've got each other to get through the pandemic with.
We do.
2020, not my favorite year. Global pandemic. Normal day-to-day activities, no longer normal. Everything's changed seemingly overnight. In a country where words like freedom permeate the landscape and people are forced to stay home. A society so used to human interaction forced apart. Mixed messages in the media. Ineffectual leadership, adding confusion where there should be clarity and uncertainty where there should be confidence. Widespread media coverage of police brutality. Victimization of African American men and women. Prejudice, intolerance, hate, indifference. So where do we go from here? Is it hopeless? I don't know. Maybe that's the problem. Looking at what's happening in the world, it's overwhelming. How can I make a difference? I'm just one drop of water in an ocean of chaos. I think Buddha said it best. Focus on the very next step. What if each of us focused on our next step? If everyone did this, my next step and your next step soon becomes millions of steps. And millions of steps can become a global march toward a common goal of making our world a better place for everyone. So what's your next step going to be? It could be anything, any one thing that moves you forward. Here's my next step. I'm going to make a concerted effort to be kind, because this world needs more kindness. I'm going to make a concerted effort not to judge others, because I don't know their circumstances. I'm going to be more vocal and more active in supporting human rights, equality, and respect for minorities and underrepresented groups. I'm going to pray. I know this isn't for everyone, but these are my steps. Look at that. I was just going to focus on my next step, and I took 4. So here's my wish. I hope everyone will take a step, just one step. The next step. A step toward hope.
The Black Lives Matter protests have been going on for the last 5 weeks, and I am so excited by the energy and the momentum behind the movement. I'm very hopeful for the future, and I do believe that lasting change is possible. Our country was founded on white supremacist ideals, and systemic racism is woven into the very fabric of our society, and that's resulted in the over-policing of Black and brown bodies. And so I do think going forward, the police departments need to be defunded or abolished, and all of those resources can be put directly into the communities that they are meant to serve. And so, yeah, I've learned through all this the power of organizing, the power of the protests, and the power of the collective voice.
I think that when most people are talking about stability, they're actually talking about seeking serenity, which comes up here. It's difficult for at best for a lot of people because it requires a level of acceptance, accepting that you're not in control of some very big parts of your life, that you're not in control of other people, you can't control other things. But what happens when you begin this journey of living life on life's terms, and that's exactly what this thing that's going on is a giant exercise in living life on life's terms. I've said it from the beginning. When you do let go of that steering wheel, you find yourself drifting towards the center of the storm. And when you find yourself in that calm center, you get your feet underneath you, you get a second to breathe, you get a moment to get your thoughts together in your head cleared, and you develop a little hope. And that hope can help you see the light at the end of the tunnel. That hope can help you to see the sky through the clouds and realize that things aren't maybe as bad as you thought they were. That's where I choose to devote my energy to, not fighting the storm, but to drift to the center. And when I get there, it helps me to share that sense of hope with other people. And that is an amazing feeling.
Our neighbors are nurses, and they are the most amazing people. I can't even imagine being in their position. And the stories that they've chosen to share with us over the fence have been gut wrenching. The one thing that they've been saying every time they come home is don't believe anything on the news. There is not enough PPE. There is not enough testing. There is not enough supplies. And they are exhausted, which isn't that awful that we are left in a state of confusion? We are hearing one thing from the president and another from personal experiences of people that are in the trenches. And it kind of makes you feel stuck and not knowing how to move forward with the information that's coming at you. This is what I do know, is that they are the most selfless and the most humane people on the face of the earth to go through what they're going through. To sit bedside with a perfect stranger and not being surrounded by loved ones, I can't imagine being in that position. And I guess the one question I always come back to is, couldn't we all use a little more compassion and empathy and humanity in times like these?
So, of course, none of this has been easy for anyone, but for me personally, I've changed a lot, especially in the beginning of all of this. I had my lifestyle stripped away from me, being the extrovert that I am. So I couldn't go see my friends all the time and hang out with them. And that really caused me to go into a depression for a solid 2 weeks. So I remember laying in bed, waking up in the morning, having no motivation to get out of bed, just lay there all day, do nothing. And that was hard to get out of. I had to focus on the present rather than the future. I'm very thankful. I'm very healthy. I have great roommates and friends to help cheer me up throughout the day. And also, like I mentioned, that future, not focusing on when this is going to end or if this is even going to end. I had to stop focusing on that and really just focus on the now. And that's really been able to help.
I wake up every day and I just think, what's one thing I can accomplish today? What is one thing that I feel I can do to keep myself sane and proactive during this time? That doesn't mean that there's also days that I completely wake up and go, I'm not getting out of bed today. I don't want to be productive. I just want to keep my mental, spiritual, physical self just be, you know? And I think during this time, that's what we all should be doing. Not only being kind to people out there and not only be considerate of others, but just how can I keep myself, me as a person, just in an ease level playing field to get through this time.
For me, the most surprising thing has been my sense of time, my perception of it. Pre-quarantine, it's a very, very busy schedule. There's not enough hours in the day to do everything. Now things have slowed down just incredibly, and in some ways it's kind of a good thing. Really finding out what's essential in our life, not only the essential workers, but the essential things that we do on a daily basis, and the people that we're quarantined with. So there's something positive coming out of this whole lockdown situation, and it's something that I hope I can take with me when we, I hope, get back to some sense of normality, but maybe not be quite so driven, not so tied to the clock, and being able to slow down and enjoy things a bit more.
I watch the protests. I see the riots. I see people screaming and yearning for someone to listen to them, someone to see them. And I wonder, what can I do? I've been sitting back waiting and watching and contemplating of how can I help? How can I be of service at this point in time? But really, I'm supposed to listen. I'm supposed to sit back and listen. And then I realized, I know what I can do. I know how I can help to facilitate this change. Because I look at my son who's not even 2 years old, this innocent being, so perfectly wrapped up into this human body. I see the way that he navigates and moves through the world as this toddler, not afraid to say hello to someone, doesn't judge them by the color of their skin, waves and says hi to everyone that we see. I know that I can continue to cultivate that and to nurture that in him, because like Whitney Houston said, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and they will lead the way. It's about teaching our children how to be anti-racist. How do we do it? By showing them love, by showing them not to judge someone because they look different, to not be afraid of strangers because not every stranger is danger. It's just a matter of really cultivating his innocence and honoring where he is now and not filling him with the stories that I was filled with as a child.
I would say one of the main takes I'm getting out of this pandemic is, in a word, surprised. So we all know that the media has always had its own little personality. You know, they try to scare us a little bit, down to the little things like the weather, because you know we're on storm watch, and in fact, it's raining. COVID has become so political, and that's unfortunate. And I'm surprised it's more political than it is medical. And you know, we have so much information that we have access to, but with that comes an abundance of misinformation. You can read a few different pieces on the same subject and walk away feeling as though you know less now. And the politicians are playing scientist when scientists haven't figured it out yet, what's going on. And that surprises me. You know, after that horrific day on September 11th, we picked ourselves up and we were hurt, but we were proud. You know, we came together. We were one nation. We were kinder to each other. I was really hoping, as a silver lining, that this pandemic would have the same effect on us, but not so much, and that surprises me. But on the optimistic side, the timing of what we've been going through is really interesting to me. So we have two historic events happening at the same time. We have a civil unrest and we have a pandemic. So that's happening during a pandemic. It's like something bigger than us said, okay, sit down, you're home, less distracted. Now listen. Then go talk about it. My hope is that, something great will come from that. Fingers crossed. And lastly, we don't need to listen to politicians, and we don't need to listen to our friends on social media or anything. Just follow common sense. The virus is spread by germs. A mask prevents germs from flying out of our faces. What am I missing?
I thought quarantine ruined my life. I had so many plans for these last few months that all just got stripped away because we had to go on lockdown. And it sucked at first. I mean, there were so many things we were all looking forward to: interactions, vacations, concerts. And now they're just gone. But they're not gone, they're just postponed until the world is a safer place. And it was really hard at first to grasp that because I was looking forward to so many things. But at least I still have my health and my loved ones. And I think that's what we really need to take from this, is that at the end of the day, those who matter most are still with us. And those that aren't, because of this disease or whatever else has been going on. It's a lesson we've learned and an experience we've gone through, and we've gone through it together, and we'll get through it together.
We've been working really hard for very long, and we've been fighting for the same things for very long. There's a lot of issues coming up in the world that has caused a lot of backlash we didn't expect, but has been the normal backlash that has always been. Things should change. Things need to change. And I'm voting for the things to change. But people are very distracted, and I don't know why. It's really simple. Humanity. We are humans. We should treat each other as such. I feel like for a long time, a lot of humans have not been treated like humans. And we need to stop that.
What'll I do when you are far away and I am blue? What'll I do? What'll I do when I am wondering who is kissing you? What'll I do? What'll I do with just a photograph to tell my troubles to? When I'm alone with only dreams of you that won't come true, what'll I do?